When you think of the pharaohs, what comes to mind? Probably golden masks, mysterious tombs, maybe some linen-wrapped mummies, right? But what if I told you that's only half the story? Today, we're unlocking the secrets of the Chime Museum's Kings of Egypt exhibition, and it promises to show us these ancient rulers in a totally new light.
So, let's just dive right in with a question that sounds, well, a little crazy. Did ancient Egyptian pharaohs use social media? I mean, we're talking 3,000 years before the first tweet. What would that even look like?
Well, in a way, the answer is a surprising yes. These incredible little scarab beetles, they weren't just fancy jewelry. They were a pharaoh's broadcast system. You can think of them as official posts, carved in stone and sent out to allies to announce major news, kind of like the ancient world's version of a global press release.
And that whole idea of focusing on life and communication instead of just death, that's really at the core of this entire exhibition. It's all about moving beyond the mummies and tombs that usually define how we see ancient Egypt.
You know, the curator, Kelly Crow, just hits the nail on the head with this quote. Instead of asking how the pharaohs died, this exhibition asks who were they when they were alive. It's a huge shift from the tomb to the throne room, looking at their actual jobs as commanders, high priests, and heads of state.
And the stage for telling this story is just immense. I mean, look at this. This isn't some small collection in a back room. It's the largest exhibition of its kind ever held in Taiwan. And it's designed to make you feel like you've literally stepped back in time to the banks of the Nile. The scale is pretty staggering. We're talking about 280 precious artifacts, all brought together in one place. Every single one is like a piece of a giant puzzle, telling us a part of the pharaoh's story across so many different dynasties.
And what's really fascinating is the range of these items. The collection has everything from these colossal stone sculptures that weigh a whopping 28 tons, all the way down to these tiny jewels, so intricately carved they could fit on your fingernail. It's that jump between the massive and the miniature that really brings their world to life.
So how exactly does the exhibition tell this story of life? Well, it does it by focusing on these hidden details. Let's take a look at a couple of the curator's must-see pieces, starting with one that reveals a surprisingly human touch inside a royal masterpiece. Okay, so this is the royal statue of Seti II, and at first glance, yeah, it's an image of pure power. But the curator wants us to look closer, because the most incredible part isn't the pharaoh's powerful gaze, but something way more subtle. His posture is actually incredibly rare. But here's where the curator's perspective just changes everything. She says the most moving part of the statue isn't the king at all. It's the anonymous craftsman who carved it. It's such a powerful reminder that behind every single one of these grand artifacts, there was a real person with incredible skill.
So where do we see that humanity? The curator points to the knees. Seriously, the lines are so delicate and the proportions are so perfect that you can almost feel the artist's intense focus. It's just a quiet testament to a level of skill that feels absolutely timeless.
All right, next up, we're shifting gears from art appreciation to some serious archaeological detective work. This next piece wasn't just found, it was basically solved, like a 3,000-year-old cold case.
This is a statue of a man named Horemheb and his wife. So what makes it so special? It was carved before he became pharaoh. Back then, he was a senior military officer, not royalty, which makes this an unbelievably rare glimpse into a future king's life before he ever wore the crown.
But here's the thing. For the longest time, nobody knew who it was. It was just this beautiful, anonymous sculpture. Then, in 1976, a tiny fragment of a hand was found in Horemheb's actual tomb. Somebody had a hunch, made a cast of it, took it over to the statue, and what do you know? It was a perfect fit. And just like that, the mystery was solved, and this statue got its name back.
So we've seen public power, and we've solved a royal mystery. Now let's turn to the written word and contrast those very public posts we talked about earlier with something much, much more intimate.
This is where you really see the two different sides of Egyptian writing. On one hand, you've got the scarab beetle, the pharaoh's official broadcast to the entire world. But on the other, you have this papyrus scroll. This wasn't some royal decree. It was basically a family's private diary, with careful interpretations of dreams written on one side and some hastily scribbled poetry on the back.
And here's the part that is just mind-blowing. This scroll wasn't found in a tomb. It wasn't made for the afterlife. This was a living document. It was passed down through the generations of a single family.
and they just kept adding their own notes and poems. It's an almost impossibly rare window into the everyday lives of ordinary people.
And after exploring the life of the pharaoh in such detail, the exhibition brings the whole journey full circle. It all culminates in this really powerful experience that blends ancient beliefs with some pretty cutting-edge modern tech.
The very last room is designed to feel like you're walking into a tomb. You move through this corridor lined with funerary figures, guided by just a single light from above. The whole design is meant to simulate the pharaoh's symbolic journey through the dark underworld, before emerging into the light of rebirth.
And for the grand finale, they bring out the virtual reality. It's a 45-minute immersive experience where you put on a headset and are literally transported deep inside a pyramid. You can move through the corridors, get impossibly close to the mummy, and examine all the burial objects in amazing detail. It's the closest most of us will ever get to actually being there. So after seeing all of this, you're left with this one powerful thought. The pharaohs carved their stories into stone and gold, making sure their legacy would last for thousands of years. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? 3,000 years from now, what will our digital scrolls and our fleeting posts say about us? What will our legacy be?
喜欢这种学习方式，欢迎订阅我的频道，让我们一起用下一个10分钟，把商业英文变简单。